This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stuttgart Podcast.
Let's talk about that sneeze that was just captured by the entirety of the building, because I was stunned. Jessica saying that she agrees with Mike Greenberg and she agrees with Jalen Rose. Welcome back, Stugatz. That breathing in the microphone is Stugatz returning with fully yellow fingers from a vacation nobody knew he was taking.
Dead show, Dano. Tour has started.
Jessica agrees with Greenberg and Jalen Rose that the Knicks are indeed tired because Miami's hot.
It's hot. You fly back and forth. You get a little runny nose situation. Stugatz, you were in New York, I believe, right?
Yep.
You come back into this humidity in this time of year in New York when it's not very humid. Very nice out, I should say. Lovely weekend in New York.
Yeah.
Your nose, it does something weird. And it only happens to the Knicks players. It doesn't happen to the Heat players when they go to New York and come back. It only happens if you're from New York, you come to Miami, or you go to New York and then you come back.
I went to New York twice, as a matter of fact, during my vacation. I mean, that's how long it was. It doesn't really happen to me. It happens to me when I go to Chicago or New York, and upon arriving there, I get runny nose, my eyes water up. That's the way it works for me.
So no excuse for the Knicks' performance then?
They're terrible. I mean, the Knicks are just a bad team.
Okay, this is the analysis from earlier in the week. They are not a bad team, but they are a bad team for this time in the playoffs. I do want to cover
I'm with Lewis on this one.
I want to cover a couple of things here. Stephen A. Smith is so disgusted with the New York Knicks that he says he vomited watching Game 4, that he actually vomited. Now, this man is a journalist.
I did too on account of Agua Diente.
I don't believe him. I believe that Stephen A. Smith is using up credibility with his fandom and his entertainment.
Yo, chicken time.
Let me be very, very clear. He would have filmed it if he really did it. Let me be very, very clear. Let me murder yourself. You admitted it. No. How was he proof? Crab rangoon, things of that nature.
One of the chickens said he would have filmed it if he had thrown up. I totally agree with that chicken.
Somebody would.
Yeah.
Somebody.
Yeah.
Crab rangoon, things of that nature was wonderful punctuation on that. The TNT crew was taunting Ken Smith, saying he doesn't.
Kenny.
He doesn't.
Ken, no one's ever called him
Smith?
Ken
What
Smith.
Wait, no,
It's a
Dan's
different
going to explain
person.
it.
Sorry.
Kenneth.
I know I get a lot of names wrong, and if you guys give me just a little room,
Sorry.
you wouldn't look like the fools on this one.
I don't mind.
They took away the NY until the Knicks win a game.
They're a bunch of losers.
All right.
I'll
I'm
let
sorry.
the
I
full story
apologize.
play out. Yeah.
Ken Smith will be on with us later in today's show so that we can make fun of him about everything happening with the Knicks. But it is a fairly amazing kind of lame that your two media members in the national media, that Greenberg's blaming the weather and Stephen A. Smith is saying he will trade Randall and he's disgusted with Randall and that he actually vomited watching them. That's what the Knicks have done. They do this thing where they go in with expectations. Yeah, we ran into the street with a playoff win. We're going to win them all. You watch.
Was he in Miami? Because he might have thrown up from the weather.
Damn, but I think the Knicks have reached their ceiling. Like, everyone thought they would match up with the Bucks and lose to the Bucks. It's the fact that they're playing an 8 seed and they're getting outplayed by that 8 seed, which makes this so disappointing. But no one thought the Knicks were going any further than the second round of the playoffs. Once they realized they were playing the Heat, perhaps people thought that. But no one in general thought that.
But
Perhaps
not
people
perhaps.
thought that.
Not perhaps.
Mike, they thought they were getting the Bucks in the second round.
Right, no, I understand. In the macro view, on the totality of the season, a second-round appearance is a major success considering your franchise is absolute crap.
Yes.
But that is not the talk or the expectation once they drew the Miami Heat.
Well, this is the problem with Yellow Fingers returning from vacation. He denied us this because he couldn't say anything about how good the Knicks were in the first couple of games of the series, and he denied us being able to watch their great season going into rubble when that city is awfully loud about this stuff, Stugotz. They're always going to get the free agent. It's the Mecca, Dan. Everybody wants to play here. You watch. Phil Jackson's going to make us amazing. We're going to get all the free agents. And they get Brunson. And, man, made Brunson a superstar this year. New York told me how much Luka misses Brunson, and Brunson's not a number one.
No, he's a number 2, and Randall should be a number 3. But I said the same thing about Jimmy Butler 5 years ago, and now Jimmy Butler is a number 1. So maybe Jalen Brunson will turn into a number 1, but this is a bad matchup because the Heat's number 1 is far better than the Knicks' number 1. Their number 2 is far better than the Knicks' number 2. They're a deeper team. They get contributions, and Thibodeau's getting outcoached. I mean,
when you say matchups, though, Amin will be here in a little bit, and this is what I worry about after last night for the Miami Heat. There are 3 teams remaining that have a guy who's a real problem for Bam. There are 3 teams that they have a guy who can make Bam foul out, that are problematic, and Anthony Davis might be the worst of them. Anthony Davis, you've got Jokic, you've got Embiid. I'd rather play Boston. If I'm the Miami Heat, I'd rather play Boston because those guys are better at offense than Bam is at defense. And those 3 guys are mutant problems. What I saw from Embiid last night, what I saw from the Celtics fans got scared overnight. I mean, they've always been scared. They're the Boston-haunted fan base. But overnight, the way that game played out, they're like, oh, holy shit, they have the MVP. And our guys don't look at home, losing by 20, like they're up for how much this dude cares. Because in the era of load management, does anyone out here doubt how much Embiid cares about winning, crying?
I did in the previous game when it looked like he was checking out. And then Boston just gave the Sixers life, and last night Embiid looked like he relished in the lifeline, and he was outstanding. I do agree that Anthony Davis is probably a matchup problem for Bam, but I haven't really seen it. The one time they matched up in the finals, Bam was hurt, and Bam, even though I do think Embiid will give him problems throughout that series, Bam is reputed to be, air quotes, an Embiid stopper.
And maybe I'd like to see the test. I'm scared of Embiid. I'm scared of that skill set.
who do you think Jimmy Butler wants? Like, he wants the Sixers, right? I mean, Jimmy Butler has done this career thing where just this morning alone, he was being compared in the same sentence to Michael Jordan, to Kobe Bryant, to LeBron James in terms of just being an assassin, a guy you can rely on in the playoffs.
But this is
Don't you think he wants the team that said go away?
Stugotz, this is how this happens, though, right? A guy wins a little bit in the playoffs. This happened overnight. It went from everyone in the sport piling on Anthony Davis to Boogie Cousins saying Anthony Davis is the best two-way player ever, and LeBron James saying that Anthony Davis is the best defensive player in the league. You play games deep into the postseason, we'll create all of those conversations around you, and that's how we anoint superstardom. But what happened to Boston last night felt almost as good as all the good that Miami has felt this postseason. To watch them collapse under the strain of it all that way. Oh, you're just going to keep taking threes? And Time Lord's not a problem for this guy if he wants to shoot in the middle of the key. If Embiid wants to shoot 8-footers or if he wants to shoot 25-footers, he's a scary proposition for anybody playing it.
We should afford Time Lord some time to recover, if fully recover is even an option for him, because he was really banged up throughout the playoffs and he kept playing through it, and I worry he may not be that player anymore.
I was asking you guys whether it was worth it for the Celtics to risk ruining the career of that guy during the last postseason.
But Dan, they made it to an NBA Finals, and when he was on the court, even with one leg, he was still being a menace.
But he was out there playing because they told him there wasn't going to be further damage. Like, that guy might have cost himself hundreds of millions of dollars because he played during a postseason. Kept playing, gave his body to that cause, and then they lose to the Warriors. And if you're fearing your greatest fears from last night, that can look like as close as you're going to get. If you're if Jaylen Brown leaves because he's tired of Boston, and Tatum starting games 0-for-7 for you, and you're watching, because what I loved about Embiid last night wasn't even the offense. It wasn't. It was him chasing down Tatum and Brown at the rim and like, no, I'm bigger than you are. That don't work on me over here. I'll chase you down from behind and you will fall into the crowd, and I'm going to take it the other way because I'm going to block it easily over here as you think you're getting back into the game.
Yeah, he was fully engaged. And we'll see if they do indeed play the Heat. Because, I mean, the Sixers still have to win another game.
You guys have the Celtics being done, huh? Like Tatum
no,
Brown can't win again.
I just love
I think
I love
concerns
the
about their-
darkness.
I mean, how often does Al Horford go 0 of 7? I mean, hell of a bounce back game. That's what champions do.
You love
even though
reveling
he's
in
never
their-
won a championship.
Dan loves the darkness.
You sound like a villain. You love the
No,
darkness.
Bill Simmons last night says he doesn't like the dark place. Look, Boston's scared. Boston's been scared all season, and last night was confirmation. That fan base, historic fan base that's won with a super team.
You think the darkness is your friend? I was born in it, molded by it.
They're scared. Boston's scared last night. That's what came out of that place last night. The historic place. Oh no, the darkness. Here comes the darkness.
It doesn't look like they have anything.
The Panthers deserve credit for this. Florida Panthers. They did this to Boston. They started it. The game after the Panthers beat the Bruins in Game 7, Celtics fans were like, "Oh, come on, this can't all happen." And then they lost. Oh, perfect.
Stugotz, understand something, and I want to make. I guess you guys must have missed it. Bill Simmons was so broken by the third quarter of last night's game that he said, "I cannot tweet."
Oh, wow.
I'm so in the darkness.
I'm so tired of his darkness. Seriously. Simmons' darkness. No one has done more winning over the last 25 years than that town and Bill Simmons.
But not that basketball.
Enough of the
not
darkness,
that
enough of the
basketball team.
demons.
Not the basketball team, though.
And the basketball team has the
But
winningest franchise
but that's,
in the history of the
But
NBA.
it's Havlicek and all that.
Honda.
It's a long time ago.
It's not that long ago, Dan. I mean, they just won a championship with
Stugotz.
Garnett, Pierce, Rondo, and those
Stugotz,
guys.
for 25 years, the Miami Heat have been better. Hard stop. Than the most traditional of franchises.
Okay, but over the course of time, that's the winningest franchise in the history of the NBA. Them and the Lakers.
Is Game 6 going to be sort of a blueprint game
Wow.
for Boston? Like, is this one of those where it could sort of end what they're doing and building around Tatum and Brown and Smart and this whole crew?
Stugotz, I am not saying that they are done. I'm saying that their own fan base that was leaving early last night is fearing more than it has in 2 seasons that they're done. That they're playing against the MVP and now it goes on the road unless they can win by 11 on the road. They did it to Atlanta. Like they can. I don't think I've been more surprised by a result this postseason in a single game than that last night. Than that one last night where I was like, oh, the Sixers by 20 and Maxi's going to hit everything.
What about Jer Bear's question, though? Blueprint game.
You're the announcer of those things.
Well, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it.
But
Missoula's
he was
coaching.
asking you. I mean,
Yeah, but I'm asking you. You're the blueprint guy. You love to call for blueprint games.
well, do you think Jaylen Brown leaves if the Celtics lose tonight?
I'm asking you if it's a blueprint game.
It's
or
for
not.
everything.
It's not tonight.
It's a blueprint game.
It's not tonight.
Yes.
Love it.
When is the game?
There's not a game tonight.
Oh.
Big day, Dan. Big day. Lots of things going on in the studio, out of the studio, in the studio. Chris Cody's trying to start a fire to see if he can do that before the show's over. Outside of the studio, the NFL just giving us little drip drops of games that are going to be happening this year. You know what the latest drop to fall was?
Is this about Germany or something else?
Not about Germany, no. Germany's weird. I don't know, not the country. I'm sure Germany's very nice and Germans
Playing
are very
games
nice.
there?
Also weird.
Well, I mean, and yeah, they've had moments. But Germany is getting the game that is, you know, the Chiefs and the Dolphins. It's going to be Tyreek Hill's return to play against his former team, but that's not the drop that fell.
Return to Germany.
What was before we get to yours? Wasn't Tyreek Hill talking all sorts of trash about going back to Kansas City to show them things, and
Yeah.
then Kansas City says,
Kansas City, Germany.
Exactly.
"Okay,
The capital.
Yeah, and then the NFL said, no, that's not happening, but that's not what we're talking about. Dan, this year, the first ever Black Friday game is going to happen.
Wow.
And they announced the teams.
Oh, this is big, Dan.
they're moving into Fridays after Thanksgiving. There are going to be more games, more football all the time.
They're taking more
They're
of
gonna
our
take
days.
every day. They're going to take basketball's days. They're going to take college football's days. They're going to take Black
F1's
Friday.
days.
You want to know who's playing?
Yes.
It's a big one.
Tua versus Aaron Rodgers. Black Friday.
Or, in all likelihood, Mike White versus Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, no.
Revenge game.
Wow.
It could also, no, I guess I was going to say it could also be Tua against Mike White, but I don't have a scenario where Mike White would end up back with the Jets again, even though
He's a Dolphin now.
Yes,
White Friday.
I know, but I'm going to have trouble. I'm going to have trouble remembering that. I think of Mike White now as a
Sure.
as a
It
Jet.
could be Mike White versus Zach Wilson. Maybe Joe Flacco.
All right, put it
Double
on
revenge game.
Juju, put it on the poll, please, at Lebitard Show. Is Aaron Rodgers versus Tua on Black Friday going to become Zach against Mike?
Does this not excite you? It seems like it doesn't excite you.
I don't love.
Let's say there's going to be Thursday night football, obviously, because it's Thanksgiving. Then there's going to be Friday football. Then there's going to be Sunday football. And there's going to be Monday football. That Saturday, a little lonely. I feel like maybe we could sneak a game in there. You know what I mean? There's college football, but meh.
I can't
That's
help.
a huge college football
Eh.
weekend.
Yeah, but
And
See
there's
how the
Formula
band
One
plays
in
out.
Las Vegas.
Give me a pro
Saturday
game.
night that weekend.
Yeah, I can't have anything but an initial reaction of being like, okay, so now we're doing Thursdays and Fridays and more games and player safety and I can't.
If anything, it's more safe. They move a Thursday game to a Friday, so they have more
Extra
time
day.
to recover between. Yeah.
All right, you know what? I changed my mind.
Oh, okay.
I'm excited about this.
I won't ruin it. You giving them an extra day in the name of safety. Since we've got that all sorted out, I'm feeling better
discounts.
about the situation.
Yeah, because it's Prime Day. Dan, I know you're all about player safety, but I think you'll be less about player safety this year when you realize not every team gets to play on Thursday night football anymore. It used to be lumped into player safety. Everybody just plays once, and we're going to be careful. And then after 7 consecutive years of Titans-Jags, we realized we don't need to put Titans-Jags on TV. We're not going to have these bad games anymore. Teams can now play up to 2 Thursday night games.
amazing.
Jessica, I don't know what that look on your face means. I don't know whether you have a strong opinion here or you're just the football schedule is not my favorite time of year.
I was just thinking about how stressful that week of Thanksgiving sports is going to be. It is the inaugural Formula One Las Vegas race, Saturday night, down the strip, and qualifying on Friday, plus college football rivalry weekend, and now 3 days of NFL football, you're telling me?
Can you? I would
Plus
like.
Thanksgiving?
I would like some
Talk about
genuine.
throwing up while watching sports.
Turkey Day.
I would like genuine help from the room on this, because I think this might be just a byproduct of me aging. But perhaps when Mike Ryan is kicking one of his playoff teams off because he wants to get up to date with his life because there's too much going on, did the pandemic speed all of this up so the amount that's available to you is simply too much? Because she's lamenting what Thanksgiving is going to feel like, and it is getting difficult to pay attention to all the things in content that you want to pay attention to without things falling by the wayside. There's not enough time in the day.
The pandemic did accelerate the spread of Formula One in the United States, Dan. I'm on to this thesis of yours, but yeah, there's a lot of sports on now, and there's a lot of streaming
But is it
networks.
more?
There's the same amount of sports on right
No,
now
I
that
think-
have always been up. We're just getting
No,
older,
that's not
man.
true. That's not true.
no,
You
I
used to
feel
not
like
be able to
that's
No,
not-
they
watch
are
every
getting
college
older.
football
Yes.
game. You used to not be able to watch every NFL game. There's
Right.
now technology where you can kind of watch every
Gods,
single thing.
for
That
that-
was- the
Too much.
The pandemic didn't do that.
Black out some games.
There's 2 highlight seasons now.
What the pandemic did to me is when everybody rushed toward money that was lost previously because they didn't have their stadiums, it feels to me like somehow, some way, more things grew out of the earth, and I can no longer keep up with sports the way I did 3 years ago. And it might be that Stugotz is right, that I'm just older and it's moving too
And
fast.
you're also married now.
So you're saying
Okay,
stop
that's
the
true.
spread.
I'm not saying stop the spread.
So
I'm
you're
saying
pro
spread the spread.
Whoa.
Oh, spread the spread. Oh, wow.
Spread. We work for DraftKings now. Spread the spread throughout the land. Spread the
Again.
spread.
Oh, no.
We work with DraftKings now.
Yeah.
You
That's
made
what I
that
meant.
very clear.
It is hard to keep track of everything, though, Dan. I'm with you, especially with how many good shows are on, how many exciting sporting events are on. Yesterday, I recorded 3 podcasts, one on women's sports, just all of women's sports, one on Formula One, and one with Golick about, like, everything else. There's just too much going on.
It's true. There's a lot going. I can confirm.
You were raising your hand like
Well, I
you're
was
very
I was
eager
keeping
to-
count. You
counting
said there
us
was
down.
3. Yeah, no, I was counting
But
down
then
how
you were
many to keep track.
responding with your mic off.
No, I was just agreeing with you. I'm
He
here
does
for
that.
I
moral
thought you were
support.
counting down the segment.
No, I was adding on. I was because you said 3, and I wanted to make sure everybody knows.
Good teammate.
It's a visual thing now, too, guys. We're on YouTube.
Sure.
Go sit in the penalty box.
Oh my God.
Me?
Wow.
Wow.
2 minutes for
Good
counting.
teammate. I'm sorry. Whew.
Stugatz thought that he deserved a delayed penalty here, returning.
Well, I was part of that local hour.
Arm up the entire time someone's talking.
Yeah, Dan has to wait for me to touch the microphone.
And then whistle it down.
We've pulled Roy so we can get an extra skater.
Stugatz thought
Let's pull
he
him
should,
and get
he
Andrew
should
Hawkins in.
Stugatz thought he should get a delayed penalty for ruining the local hour after
2 weeks ago.
they
Penalty,
beat the
go.
Bucks. So you could go sit with Billy
Oh,
for a
Jesus.
second.
Unbelievable.
Really?
Yes.
I was kidding around.
Yeah, it was you. You
I'm
volunteered.
definitely expecting that trip.
That's
now.
like heaven for those two.
Yeah, no, they're relishing this. They're going to talk about how the Jags are playing back-to-back games in London.
Well, what can we say about what's coming up? Can they hear us?
Yes, they
Yes,
can.
they can.
There's speakers
Yes.
everywhere.
Doesn't matter
Yeah.
how you whisper.
Penalty box for you,
Dan's
Dan.
Dan's had to keep a secret
Yeah, go.
all show long, and I've already stopped him twice now from spoiling it because he's the worst secret keeper.
Put her on the poll, please, Juju at Lebitard Show. Is Dan the worst secret keeper? I wanted to ask you guys a question because Kendrick Perkins has gone to Twitter and he said,
Can they hear me in this broadcast studio for a media company?
Christ almighty.
Everything we say in here is a secret, right?
I was just of the impression that the penalty box took some adjusting where people had to put in an earpiece and they might not hear us in that room.
There's sound
Unfortunately,
everywhere.
everyone can hear everything we're saying all the
Okay,
time.
well,
Let's
then
not
I
tell,
wall of
let's not
sound.
tell Stugatz about the secret lunch that we have planned for him.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
So
Secret heater.
Welcome back.
his fingers
Cedar.
are yellow.
You've mentioned that a couple of times,
Yeah, you
and
did.
yeah, I can confirm. We actually have to relight that room because he keeps putting his hand up.
Kendrick Perkins said on Twitter that he wishes he could be the hood version of himself on ESPN because then he could say what he really wanted to say about the Celtics and get fired on his day off. He is
Either the window is open in the penalty box. Let's please take that shot, or
so
they have
you wonder
had
why
a heater.
you wonder why
they are smoking.
So
Billy's in heaven now.
This chaos agent. Look, Billy's actually ruining the show
did it
by
on
putting
purpose.
up the
Wow.
blinds. And look, I can confirm he can hear us.
okay, yeah. But you wonder why I ask whether a room would be equipped to hear us when we throw him into the penalty box on a professional broadcast
Looks like they're in the clouds.
empire, and it looks like that, and it looks like that.
And Video's so mad at them right now. You're not supposed to do that.
Yes. Welcome, video. Getting back to Kendrick Perkins, though, and I want to ask this question sincerely because I thought, man, Kendrick Perkins has really gotten a lot of mileage out of that one Boston championship. And then I thought that in my personal record book, he might have 0 because I think it's more impressive to not win the championship with Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and Kevin Durant because you're playing than it was to win the championship with Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen. But Perk has made a nice career for himself, and he is disgusted, because he is proud of being a Celtic. He won a championship. He set screens for a champion, and Perk's toughness was something on the original super team. Perk's toughness got him a career, but he lost that championship because Scott Brooks kept playing him. You can make the argument.
This feels like you took that opportunity just to take personal shots at Kendrick Perkins.
You can make the argument, you really can, that the Heat twice has won 2 complete championships because a coach didn't know how to adjust to the time. Avery Johnson never stopped doubling Shaq. Never stopped. And Dwayne Wade went crazy and won a championship. And Scott Brooks kept playing Kendrick Perkins while Miami Heat was playing positionless
Why are
basketball.
you telling Kendrick Perkins to stop worrying about playing the hood version of himself on TV and just try being a good version of yourself as a basketball player?
Oh, goddamn.
Stugatz just burst into the studio and said with a totally straight face in a way that made me burst out laughing, I love that Tyreek Hill's revenge return game to Kansas City is in Frankfurt.
The NFL is taking
It's
away
global
the revenge
expansion.
game.
It's global expansion. They're throwing Aaron Rodgers and Tua over here because they want to get into business with Black Friday on Bezos. Bezos and the NFL want all of the commerce, and they'll go all over the globe to get it. But Tyreek Hill and the Chiefs were talking about this return revenge game because Tyreek left there all insulted. And hey, look, everybody won. It wasn't a bad trade. It's Kansas City's great. Didn't actually need him. Can win the championship without him. And Tyreek Hill became a star and got paid.
But he didn't leave Frankfurt. I mean,
No, that's correct. The Germans can't be expected to care about all that. They're just inviting the sport. They'll learn the way London did, and eventually we'll have teams there too, playing on Mondays and Tuesdays, different time slots. So football. So there will be. You know, you've heard how somewhere in the world there's a Beatles song always playing. There will come a time in our future where there is an NFL game being played every single hour of the Truman Show day. Every hour there will be an NFL game played. And on another channel, they'll just be throwing human bodies into a meat chipper. And that'll be the counter programming.
I'm good with it.
We all are, evidently.
I'm worried about Maction, but I'm good with it.
There's got to be a Taylor Swift song playing everywhere too. Yeah, they can't be the only band that's happening with. Somewhere on Earth, currently, Taylor song playing right now for sure.
Yeah, but the Beatles cliche was far more impressive before the age of streaming because there's Taylor Swift fans that listen to Taylor Swift 24 hours a day.
That's right. Drake.
It also seems like a made-up stat about the Beatles. That's true too. Because how the hell could we know?
That's correct. But we now know. The devices are listening, and we now know there's always a Drake song playing, and there's always a Swiftie song playing somewhere. Yes.
And a Beatles song, you're saying?
Well, maybe not anymore. They've been surpassed by technology. They've been surpassed. The Beatles, they are correct when they say it is an antiquated saying.
There is a Grateful Dead song playing everywhere all at once, but that's just like 2 songs of theirs.
Well, they have their own station. I mean, there's always a Dead song on.
The joke
There
was that
is.
the songs are
I got
20
it.
hours long,
Which
is a feature, not a bug, really.
Yeah.
You're rebounding here from this is the first Grateful Dead show of what promises to be a long summer for all of us. People are worried about your health. They
It's
think
well, why are they worried about my health? I feel great. I mean, I don't look great.
Oh, look
but
at you.
Yeah, well, that's a fair point. I said I don't look great.
well,
in fairness
we felt like you were wearing the same clothes for 11 days.
I was, yeah. That's what happens when I travel without Abby. I mean,
How do you pack for a trip?
well, I went to Chicago with Abby, and then I went to New York, the Dead show, without Abby. She had to pick up Emma at Syracuse because college is done for her.
She's probably so done with Dead shows at this point.
Listen, I came home and I said, if that's the last Dead show I ever saw, I'm good with that.
Wait a
Because it was
Gotta hold you to that.
It was a great show. It's a great show. She then reminded me, that's nice. I'm glad you had fun. You have purchased 2 tickets for every show this summer.
Yo, chicken time.
You're not going to more Dead shows? Yeah, right. Where are the rest of the chickens?
I was
Wait, I wasn't prepared to say anything. As long as that's you'll be at a concert.
Yeah. Going to L.A. next weekend.
Wait a
That's
minute.
it, Sergeant. The temerity. You're a minute to go.
You went to Chicago also?
Yeah.
You went to New York,
Oh,
and
no, I
then
went
you
to
went to
Ohio. My
Ohio,
bad, my bad,
and then you went to Chicago, and then you went back to New York?
I went to Ohio Big Ten Championship. It started off with the Knicks Heat game. I went there to Tuesday night. Thank you again to Metal Art, John Skipper, Dan Lebitard. My wife's first time at the Garden was fantastic. She was so happy she was eating Tao at Madison Square Garden. That's all she cared about, Tao sushi. Went from there to Ohio, Big Ten tournament. Watched my daughter win her first ring. Watched Northwestern win a Big Ten tournament. And then drove from Ohio to Ithaca, New York for a dead show at Cornell University. What a great week. Oh.
Billy, any lies in there? Because I think we've had a lot of questions since Stugatz left. I don't know. You said that you told Whitty and you blamed it on ghost shadow management. None of us knew you were leaving.
Oh.
Well, here's the thing, though.
Whitty did.
That I've learned is that I've gotten attached to a lot of his bad behavior because there's this perception that I know what's going on with him. And Mike and I had like a nice sit down the other day for like 30 minutes in the other studio where he's like, "Can you just fill me in on what his schedule is because it'd be helpful?" I'm like, I didn't know he wasn't going to be here this week. Like, I found out along with the rest of us. Like, and then he gave me this email that Stugatz has sent with vacation days, and I'm like, this is actually helpful to me because I don't know any of this stuff. Like, I don't know when any of this is going to go.
But do you believe that he told Whitty that he was going to go, or did he just get lost in a swirl of the dead and end up in Ithaca bouncing to Ohio, lies trailing him like a tapestry of a wedding gown?
I think that maybe he could have said it to Whitty in passing at one point in time, but
Whitty
phrased
seems
it.
organized, though.
No,
Whitty-
but like Stugatz is good at
Seems.
yeah. Well, that's the thing.
In this wedding dress of lies, I have Billy now being the guy that's like the bridesmaid that has to fix.
He's bustling the
he's-
dress.
like as she walks down the aisle, he's making sure that it's all like.
The back of the dress is
But
okay.
isn't it though? Isn't it? He's got like it goes down. It's the aisles. It goes outside the church. Like it's a very long tapestry.
Here comes the lies.
I'm checking for the emails right now for Whitty.
The thing is that Stugatz has the truth buried in like a field of lies. You know what I mean? Like he'll throw.
But somewhere in that field, you're right,
He'll
is the
throw
truth.
a truth
Right.
in there,
I
but
think.
it's like you need to guess which is the truth.
It's a cornfield,
And
right?
then he
It's got to be a
always has it-
cornfield.
A cornfield.
Two truths,
Yeah.
two truths and a lie,
Yeah.
right?
No, one truth and 7,000 lies, and then you need
Fair.
to choose which one is the truth, and it's kind of like So like he is probably right. He did at one point say it, but he's also sent like 80 other emails with 80 other schedules, so you
but
have to
that's-
guess
well,
which
this
is the right
no,
one.
but this is you amateurs. This is the blue mist that he throws into your face like one of those wrestlers. Like, yes, of course. It's just spread it all out. None of the words mean anything. And then we come in on Tuesday and we look around and Stugatz is gone for a week and he didn't tell anybody.
Well, no, he did, but he told
No,
everybody different
but
things,
no.
and look, he will.
I
have-
told the truth to someone.
I have no doubt in my
Thank you
mind
for that.
he may have told the truth to someone, and he will produce an email that has the truth in it, but it's buried under 8,000 other emails that you're like,
Do
I
you
don't
search
really know.
the truth? Like, do you have it? Like,
And the truth is
different
usually
folder.
like, I may take this time off.
There's always-
and then 2
it's-
months go
it's
by.
always unclear.
And
Right.
and then he kind of has the truth in his back pocket. Hey, I gave someone a heads up that I'd be taking time off. But if you look into the email, it's like I may be in Ithaca. I may be
A lot
in the
of
Big Ten
moving
tournament.
parts to my schedule. The Dead shows are there. You can check it out at the summer tour, deadandcompany.com. But the moving parts are Northwestern, the NCAA lacrosse tournament, what times the games start, what days the game's on. All of that stuff, it just moves. It's constantly shifting. It's constantly moving, which is fine for me.
I think
But-
those things all have schedules.
They definitely all have schedules, but the factor from last week that was kind of like that, I talked to him. I was like, so like, walk me through how this happened. Like, how did you end up? And he's like, well, I told Whitty. I go, so guys, it's impossible for you to have told Whitty that you're going to a Knicks playoff game on Tuesday because that was set up last Friday.
Yeah, I did tell him that one.
Yeah, Stugatz is the great kabuki of liars, apparently. Just spraying lie mist all in your face, just blinding you with lies.
This is we've got to corner him though at some point, right? We have
You
to.
can't.
That's the thing.
Somewhere there's someone who I told the truth to, Dan.
Well, and he also does this thing where he just takes his microphone with him when he goes anywhere, right? So then he'll just be like, I'll just join the show. And it's like, well, like, no, thank you. And then he's like, I offered.
And then blames Dan for not wanting to do it.
I
with
mean,
him in
you know,
Ithaca with shitty Wi-Fi.
I'd like to come on after a Knick game and talk about it, but, you know, the big kahuna won't let me. You know, we'd rather talk to Samson about it.
No, but let's.
It's upsetting to me.
I please.
Please don't put that on him. You had 2.5 years to get good at Zoom.
We haven't executed that one time successfully, one time with you on remote, and you blame me because you can't find how to fix your Zoom.
I mean, it's more a timing thing than the Zoom thing. Let's be honest. I
It's
understand
not just
why
a
you don't
timing
like doing
thing.
it. I get it.
It's not just a timing thing. It's a landscaper thing. It's a Finney thing.
I mean, in my defense, there's no chairs around here. Samson's here. Amin's here. Where was I going to sit? So I took a week off. I mean,
They're here because you left.
I don't know.
So he gets
That's the case.
boxed in, and I want to box him in further.
It's impossible. You're not going to be able
But I'm
to.
going to try.
It's all on the calendar, too. I mean, that's what it's
That
there
is also
for.
not true.
Oh,
That's
it's
also
there.
not
It's
true.
there. It's there.
And the calendar moves from day to day. Like you sign on one day and it's not there, and then 5 minutes later it's there, and then you look again and it's not, and it's been extended 4 more days.
Yeah.
Moving parts.
And it's always like, I can join the show. I can join the show. It's not
I'm
really
always
okay, I
happy
can't.
to join the show.
can.
Even while on vacation, I want to be a part of the show.
That is in
I
the
do.
calendar. It always says Stugatz in
Available.
Ithaca, available to hop in via Zoom.
If you need me. I mean,
But he's not, though, because often the Zoom doesn't work.
that's on Zoom. It's not on me. I mean, fix your product.
I love the weird hostage video you posted with the Wi-Fi of a toaster oven, by the way.
That was I was told later that was to Bill Meadowlark as an expense trip that he sent one grainy video from a
Respect.
Ramada Inn in Newark.
I just hit send on
Who
it.
is
for
Bill Meadowlark?
Rachel has more rings than Durant, right? Wasn't it?
Why was that video so grainy? Why did you? And your Madison Square Garden Meadowlark content contribution was your finger on the microphone of your phone. No one could hear you as you
Yeah.
complain that it's our fault that we don't do this correctly.
Oh, no one heard me? I was leaning up against the brick church. No one heard me? It's the church Chris Paul goes to. I mean,
He's had a brick church joke for a week in the holster.
Did he workshop it?
it's a nice church.
That he was holding the microphone,
91st and Park.
his finger on his phone. What happened there? I'm not.
I happened.
2 videos.
I didn't get the company phone. I mean,
You won the game you went to. They won, and you denied us the content for a week of
the
being,
game I went to, they won, but the series was over right after that game. That's the game they made Caleb Martin look like Michael Jordan. That's the game the Knicks wheezed to a victory at home without Jimmy Butler. That's the game that Gabe Vincent looked like Scottie Pippen. I mean, the Knicks, and you should have known right there, Knick fans, that this series was over.
You denied us that.
Yeah.
Like we couldn't
I
hear
thought
it.
I hit the button. I mean,